Hey everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Mindy Banks. I'm the Flip Flop Chef. Today I'm going to be using Pampered Chef's Deluxe Stand Mixer and Pampered Chef's Deluxe Air Fryer. We're going to make chicken nuggets that your kids are going to love and ask you for over and over again. I know this because that's what's happened in my house. So this is a brand new recipe that goes with Pampered Chef's Deluxe Stand Mixer. It is in the cooking guide and I can't wait to share it with you. If this is your first video with me, I hope you'll click the subscribe button so that you'll be notified whenever I post new videos. And also I have a recipe community. You can find it by going to theflipflopchef.com and clicking the button at the top of the page. And you'll be able to access thousands of recipes and a weekly giveaway there. So let's go ahead and get started. If your kids like chicken nuggets like mine do, it's easy to just grab a bag from the freezer section at the grocery store or to go through a drive-through. But it's not always the most healthy ingredients, and so today I'm going to show you how to make these at home and you know exactly what you're putting in them. We are going to put a little bit of sugar, but if you want to leave that out, you can certainly do that. So let's go ahead and get started. If you're not familiar with Pampered Chef's Deluxe Stand Mixer, be sure to check out some of my previous videos so that you learn all about it because it's pretty cool. And it is a smart mixer, has an LED display, which you're going to get to see in just a few minutes. But first of all, let's get all of our ingredients mixed together in the bowl. So I'm going to first just take the bowl out and bring it over here, and we are going to be using the scraper paddle attachment here. Now, I know that that's what I'm going to use because when I look at my cooking guide, it has the recipe and it has a picture of the attachment that you want to be using. And so I'm going to go ahead and attach this. I'm at a kind of a weird angle here, but you always want to make sure that your mixer is off or unplugged when you're doing this. Off is sufficient. You don't have to unplug it for this. You're going to push up and then just twist, and it attaches that attachment to the mixer. Next, we're going to mix our ingredients in this large bowl. Now, our mixing bowl is just over 5-quart capacity, so it's a nice large size. I'm going to double this recipe, and I'm using ground chicken for this. You could use ground turkey if you wanted to, but I am using ground chicken for this. I'm just going to toss both of these packages into the bowl and rinse my hands just for good measure. I always like to wash my hands when I'm dealing with raw meat, even though I don't think I came into contact with that directly with my skin. But anyways, we're gonna now add the other ingredients, and I'm gonna have to use my cheat sheet because I haven't made these enough times yet to know this by heart, and this is the first time that I'm doubling this recipe because my kids and my husband both love these so much that they don't last very long. So we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of sugar, and since we're gonna double this recipe, I'm going to add 4. Oops, I'm throwing things around. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to leave the sugar out, by all means, you can certainly do that. All right, the next ingredient, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of onion powder. So here's my onion powder, and we're going to do 2 of these since we are doubling this. So 1, 2. I'll set this aside. And then the next ingredient is a teaspoon of salt. So I have my salt, and I actually ground this salt. This is Pampered Chef's Himalayan sea salt, and I ground this in our deluxe cooking blender. So what did I say? I already forgot. I think it was 1 teaspoon, and we're going to double it. Yep, 1 teaspoon. So there's 1 and 2. Next, we're going to do ½ a teaspoon of black pepper, and I also ground up peppercorns in my deluxe cooking blender for this. So we're going to do half, and we're doubling it. So there we go. And then last but not least, we have garlic powder, and ½ a teaspoon of garlic powder, double it, and I wasted too many measuring spoons on this. I don't remember which ones I used and which ones I didn't. We'll put this aside, and those are all the ingredients. So what the directions say next is it says set it to mix for 1 minute. So let me slide this under here and lock it in place. There's a little button right here to lower this down so you don't have to worry about the top of this just falling really hard. And then I'm going to turn this on. There is a power button on the back, and then you're going to see the LED screen here. So I'm going to zoom in, give you guys a closer look at this, and it says to set this for mix. So I'm going to turn this to mix. I'm not sure how well you can see this with the sun, but I have the speed 1, and its default time is 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So I'm going to select mix, but I'm going to lower the time to just 1 minute. And I want you guys to watch. It's going to start out slow, and then it speeds up. it's sped up to speed 2. We have 12 seconds left. And it's totally hands off. So I'm not having to do anything. I just leave it where it is. All right. So now it's done. I'm going to turn the power off, lift the handle up here, and take the bowl out. And I'll show you guys what I'm working with. I'm going to take the speeder off, and that will go in the dishwasher. All of our accessories are dishwasher safe, so makes it very, very easy to clean. And now we're going to shape these into nuggets. So this is what we have in our mixing bowl so that you guys can see that. And we're going to shape these, and then we're going to coat them in some panko breadcrumbs. Now, I was worried I didn't have enough panko breadcrumbs to double this recipe, but I had just barely enough. So 2 cups for a double recipe of the panko plain breadcrumbs. If you wanted to use the Italian seasoned, you could certainly do that. I also have here some parchment paper liners. I like using these when I'm cooking anything in the air fryer that might stick to the trays. Those are available on Amazon, and you can definitely check out the links in my recipe community for that if you are looking for the exact same ones that I use. So I like these because they have holes in them, so the air still is able to kind of circulate through the tray and the paper, but it makes cleanup really, really easy. Now, we are going to spritz these with a little bit of oil before we put them in the air fryer. So I'm going to put that there so I don't forget. That is not listed in the recipe, but I feel like it is an important step because you're going to get more of a fried look when you spritz it with oil. I'm going to use gloves for this because, well, it's just not a fun process to make these nuggets, and it keeps everything from sticking to your hands. You can buy food gloves just about anywhere. You can get them at the grocery stores, and you can also get them on Amazon. If you need a link for them on Amazon, I'm happy to give you those. But oh, you know what I was gonna do? I'm gonna grab one of my scoops because that made it a lot easier, and then I'm not guessing, and then all the nuggets are gonna be about the same size. Hang on one second. All right, I think I used the medium scoop the first time that I made these, so that's what we're gonna go with. All right, put my glove back on, and we're gonna take the medium scoop here, and I'm gonna just scoop this out, and then you have it kind of in a nice shape already. You're gonna just roll this in the panko, and then I just kind of like press them down. So the end result is going to turn out looking a lot like McDonald's chicken nuggets, which I think are disgusting. But my kids like them, and maybe that's why they like these so much, is because the texture is similar to what you're gonna find in like a McDonald's chicken nugget, but you know exactly what ingredients are going in here. So we're gonna just shape these into nuggets, and then we're gonna put these in the air fryer, and they're gonna go in for about 12 minutes on the air fry setting. And then I like to rotate the trays halfway through, and that's a really cool feature of Pampered Chef's air fryer, is that it beeps halfway through, so you don't have to set a separate timer for 6 minutes. It will just let you know when the time is ready to switch those trays. All right, so hang tight. I'll be back. I'm going to show you guys exactly what to do next, but you don't need to see me roll all of these chicken nuggets on camera. So stay tuned. I'll be back to show you the rest. All right, you guys, I'm back to finish up these chicken nuggets. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to spritz these with a little bit of oil. So I've got 2 trays of our chicken nugget patties, and I'm going to spritz them with some oil before we put them in the air fryer. If you've never used our kitchen spritzer, you're going to fill it with your favorite oil, and then you pump the cap on the top of the bottle to fill the bottle with pressure. And this is what's going to make it spray like an aerosol can, but without all of the preservatives. So I'm just going to spritz these really well, just to kind of wet those breadcrumbs, and it will give this sort of a fried look. So we're going to spritz these, and then when you're done, you're going to burp the bottle, let all that extra air out, and it'll keep the pump from being clogged. So I'm going to put 1 rack on the top, and 1 rack in the middle. We're gonna close the door. I'm gonna set this to the air fry setting, and it's set for 12 minutes. I'm actually gonna do 14 because I think my nuggets might be bigger than what Pampered Chef intended, because it did take a couple minutes longer when I made this recipe before. So we're gonna let this cook. Halfway through, it is gonna beep to let me know to switch out those trays. So in the meantime, I'm gonna finish making more nuggets, and I've got some extra air fryer trays here and some clean gloves. And I wanted to show you, oops, hang on, I got one right here. I wanna show you this is a new utensil scrubber from Pampered Chef, and it's perfect for cleaning your air fryer trays. So if you're not using parchment paper and you have food that sticks to it, you can actually take this new utensil scrubber and you can scrub these in the sink. They do fold flat. They look like dentures. My boy said, why is Pampered Chef selling dentures now? And that's exactly what they look like. I don't have a knife handy, but you could use this to scrub any of your dishes. It's not just for knives, and it's not just for cooking trays. It also will fit on the inside of a rim of a bowl. I'm not going to put it on the bowl because I still have some ground chicken in here, but it kind of clamps onto the bowl, and you can really easily scrub the outside rim of your bowl, which is great for using this like on our cast iron enamel Dutch oven, so you can really get that rim nice and clean. So this is our utensil scrubber, and I do want to mention some of the other attachments that go with Pampered Chef's deluxe stand mixer. So you're going to get that scraper paddle, and you're going to get the whisk attachment and the dough hook. And the dough hook, of course, is so that you can make your own homemade dough, or homemade bread, which is great. And it also has a splash shield to keep your ingredients from splashing out. So like if you're adding flour and other things while it's mixing, that's going to kind of keep things from coming out and splashing on you. And it's very easy to attach to the bowl. It's in one piece. The one that I had for another mixer was like a puzzle. You had to attach 2 pieces, and it was really a pain. So I'm going to work on these other nuggets and get them ready to go in when these are done. Actually, I'm trying to decide. I may freeze this set, put them in the freezer, get them like hard frozen, and then take them out and put them in a Ziploc bag frozen. And then when I'm ready to cook them again, I can defrost them or cook them from frozen. It would just take a little bit longer. So I'm experimenting a little bit today. So I'm gonna go ahead and make these other nuggets while we let these cook. So hang tight and I'll be back. All right, you guys, we are almost halfway through with the cycle of cooking, and so it should beep at me at any moment. And so what I'm gonna show you guys is how I'm going to adjust those trays. Now, because of the parchment paper, you may want to flip the nuggets over also at some point, maybe like the last couple of minutes. It's totally up to you. If you don't care if the bottom's brown quite as much as the top, then you don't have to do that. Did you hear that beep? I'm going to rotate this a little bit closer to me here. The beeping sound is letting me know that it's time to rotate these trays. So you're going to take the top tray, and you see how these are starting to brown, and these are not brown yet. They're cooking, but they're not brown. So we're gonna stick those in the top tray, move these to the middle tray, and then we're gonna close the door. So this is gonna continue cooking for 7 more minutes. I will check on them, and then I may decide to flip over each nugget and spritz them with a little bit of oil just to brown them up just a little bit. And I think I am going to put these in the freezer because I want to test how these are going to work from a frozen state versus a fresh state. And we don't need this many chicken nuggets at one time, and so even though I'm sure my boys would be happy to eat them all. So I have this on the half sheet pan. I'm just going to put this right in my deep freezer just like this. And after an hour or so, they're going to be, well, maybe a couple of hours, they should be frozen enough that I can transfer them into another container and then keep them in the freezer. So I'll probably put them in our leak-proof storage containers and put them in the freezer. And then when I'm ready to cook them again, I'll just take them out, put them on the parchment-lined trays just like I have today, and cook them from a frozen state. They will take longer to cook that way because they're frozen instead of fresh, but I will test that recipe for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy this process so far. Hang tight, I'll come back in about 6 minutes and we'll finish up these nuggets, okay? See you in a bit. All right, you guys, I am back. Our air fryer timer is up. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to check on these nuggets and decide if I wanna flip them and also check to see if I need to cook them a little bit longer. So this is our top rack here. I love using our instant read food thermometer because you can check to make sure that the internal temperature is what you need to be. And so if you don't know what temperatures you should cook your food at, if the recipe doesn't tell you, which this one does, 165 degrees, we also have a little cheat sheet right here on the thermometer, so you don't have to remember. So it says chicken, 165 degrees. So we're just gonna poke this in here, and 167. So we're good to go on the chicken nuggets here. Now, you can flip these over, and you can see that they're not quite as brown on the bottom. So what I like to do in cases like this is I like to flip them over and spritz them with a little bit of oil and just put them back in the air fryer for just a couple of minutes, just long enough to brown the other side, okay? Because it's it looks a little bit dry because this is not deep frying, right? We're air frying. All right, so this was the top tray. So I am going to rotate these. Use my microwave grips here. Put this one on the middle tray, and then we'll put this one on the top tray. So the same thing, I'm just gonna flip these over. If they're too hot for you to handle, then just use a pair of tongs or a mini serving spatula. I'm gonna spritz these with a little bit of oil. I might need to pump a little more pressure, maybe not. Maybe I've got enough in there. Just spritz them enough so that they look deep fried, even though they are not. So I'm gonna put this back in for, let's just do 2 minutes on air fry, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna serve them up in our, I have a really pretty platter that I found at Aldi, and we're gonna serve it on that with some ketchup. Now, this is a piece that goes with the instant read food thermometer. So I just use this with the probe that's attached. Now, to clean this, you don't wanna submerge this in water. What you wanna do is you wanna take a cloth that you can use with soap that's not super wet, and just wipe that probe and then rinse the probe. You don't want this to be submerged in water. And then when you're done cleaning this off, this just folds in like this, and there is a little place right here, hopefully you can see that, where I can plug in the probe. So this is a probe on a cord. So what's really cool about this is that you can actually put this probe in your food in your oven and close the door, but this piece stays on the outside of your oven. It is magnetic, and so if your oven is magnetic, you can hook it right on the outside of your oven, or you can set it on the counter. So for my oven, I have a little counter beside it, so you can set it beside there if it's not magnetic. But I really love the instant read food thermometer, and then there is an on-off switch on the other side. Now, you may have heard this beep, so that's just telling me it's halfway through that 2 minutes. So these got a little bit brown, and they're not gonna be as dark as the other side unless I continue to cook them, but I don't wanna overcook them. So I wanted to just give it a chance to get a little bit less dry looking on there. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take them out and put them on a real pretty tray and serve them with some ketchup. And so I found this at Aldi. You guys know I love shopping at Aldi, and I just thought this was so pretty. I'm taking a sushi class in April, if they don't cancel it. I've registered for so many of these classes here locally, and almost all of them end up getting canceled because people aren't registering for them. But this is gonna be beautiful for sushi whenever I learn how to do that. So we're gonna add some ketchup. I would much rather that this have sushi in it. And those of you that know me are like, why does she eat sushi? She doesn't eat seafood. So I do like tempura shrimp, and so I do like Mexican rolls and things like that. All right, so we're gonna take these out, and we're going to just put them right on our, I'm gonna flip them over so that the darker side is showing. And if you wanna continue to cook those a little bit longer, then you can. We're gonna just put these right on there. And check this out. This is going in the garbage. And look, all I have to do is rinse this off. There's nothing stuck to those grates and nothing really to clean up. So these are kid-friendly, air-fried chicken nuggets made with ground chicken using our deluxe stand mixer and deluxe air fryer. So I can't wait for you to try this recipe and tell me what you think. Tell me what your kids think. And I look forward to sharing more delicious recipes with you soon. But that's all I have for today. So I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.